Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the January 13th, 1997 edition of Monday Night Raw, and the match card is as follows. In our opener, we had Jerry the King Lawler teaming up with Hunter Hurst Helmsley, taking on the team of Goldust and Mark Miro. In our next match, we had the British Bulldog taking on Rocky Maivia. And in our main event, we had The Undertaker taking on Crush of the Nation of Domination. All right, let's get into it. So we are one final stop before the Royal Rumble, and this is where we are.
This is a chaotic episode.
This was very chaotic.
It was like
lots of moving parts as it has been recently, but I feel like we kind of solidified a lot of the rivalries before heading into the pay-per-view. I feel like a lot of the major matches were featured in some capacity or another.
Like it reminded you, like, once again, like all 30 people at the Royal Rumble have beef with everybody else. Like there is like a family tree, but it's like the tree of chaos where it's just like, this is how everyone hates each other. And it's like all the little like vines and branches and
it's like a feuding tree.
Yeah, instead of the giving tree, it's the feuding tree. Just like,
yes.
Bop, bop. Instead of giving you anything good to use, it just gives you a sucker punch to the face.
Amen. So this episode begins with a little recap of the events of last week regarding Sycho Sid and his attack on Jose Lothario's son, Pete Lothario, who we found out is 19 years old, which makes it all the more just aggressive.
I really hate to say this, but he looks
Red 35.
Okay, thank you. I was like, he looked like at least 30 or maybe 28 or something. But when they were like, he's only 19, I was like,
yeah, I was like, I'm
sorry. What are they doing down there in Texas?
The sun is what's happening down there.
Big T, honestly, sweetie, SPF, just.
And then after the little recap, we find out that Stone Cold Steve Austin has once again attacked Bret Hart during one of Bret Hart's matches, and gave him the Brian Pillman treatment. So,
which also, we keep mentioning Brian Pillman. We like never saw him again.
No, literally, like he held Stone Cold up at gunpoint, and then he just see you later, like bye.
And that was it. We never, not even a whisper, how's he doing? Like,
well, I mean, they did say that they did go as far as to like re-injure his leg. So I imagine that like he's just out on with the injury. But it's been a minute.
Yeah, wait, which also, this is super off topic, but we also still don't know what happened to the... Oh my God. His name's escaping me. They were brothers, and then they broke up, and then he got hung out on the ropes, and we thought he was...
Billy and Bart?
Billy, yes. We still don't know what happened to him. To Billy. Yeah. Like it was like he had temporary paralysis and then we never spoke of him ever again.
Right. I think he's probably still like going through it, or
I'm sure
they probably gave him some time off to like deal with that.
Of course. They don't know how nosy I am. Like I need an update. Is he comfortable?
I will say he does come back. So he does come back, and he does have a very long career. So
yes, Xavier had to tell me that after we watched the episode. I don't know if we talked about this, but he had to tell me that after we watched the episode, like to make sure I didn't have like a panic attack, like that we might have just watched someone get paralyzed. I was like, I just like But
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Xavier's like,
yeah,
he comes
yeah,
back, he comes back. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. But
yeah.
sorry, huge digression. I just like realized that. I was like, wait a minute.
No, we haven't gotten an update like at all. Like,
Not a word. So, and we haven't seen Bart either.
mm-mm. But I
So,
mean, his main storyline was supposed to be
be
like
with
this feud
Billy.
with his brother. So
Right.
I think instead of just kind of like throwing him into something random, they're gonna just kind of wait until Billy is like back. Would be my
Word.
best guess. Um, just because I think they need to figure out where Billy is in all of this before they can like
Figure out
move
where Bart
Bart
is.
around is, you
Yeah,
know?
true. True, true. All right. Sorry for the digression. Just
Oh,
thought of it.
don't apologize. Oh, good. So in our opening match, we had Jerry the King Lawler and Hunter Hurst Helmsley taking on Goldust with Marlena and Mark Miro with Sable. The girlies were on the same side today,
We love when the baddies link up.
and it was seamless. It was
It
amazing. I
was. I
love
wish they
them.
had interacted more.
I agree. I just want them to be like best friends.
Swear, because like they
Hmm.
just they have like they're same but different. Like they're
Yes,
just different
they
enough,
have the same role, but like they
but they
look
do it so
similar.
differently.
Yes, and the way they act is so different.
Yes, like
Whereas Sable's like very like outgoing and
mm-hmm.
loud and is like stomping on or like pounding on the apron. And Marlena's just stoic
I love
and
that. I feel like their friendship energy would be like Sable is always like she comes to like Marlena like crying like some and she'll be like, who upset like what girl said something, whatever, like some girl said something to her,
Mhm.
and like Marlena just like says no word. She just goes, where is she? And then she just
Right.
goes and like beats her ass in the
Oh,
bathroom or something.
100%.
But like
100%.
she never minces words. She never even says anything.
No,
But
no,
like
no. She
Sable's
just
always like
goes
beep,
and
beep, beep, beep,
does
beep.
the friend thing, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
like she's the physical one. She's the one
right.
in the fight.
Oh, she'll body you. That's for damn
And
sure.
that's who you want.
So in this match, we had the Honky Tonk Man on commentary. Actually, the Honky Tonk Man was on commentary all night long,
All
and for some reason,
right.
he had big beef with Mark Miro.
Yeah,
And that was
have
the
like a lot of people randomly.
right. Like last week, pretty cordial, pretty fine. Like we're he's out here like conducting his own reality TV show or whatever, and so like it's it's fine, like he's out here just blabbering about trying to find like his one true sweetheart that's
What
gonna
did we
take
say? He's like the voice.
right, yeah, 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 or like America's Got Talent or whatever. So
America's Got Talent. Yeah.
last week he
America's
was
Got
out here
Talent.
just doing that, but today I guess because he was picking up the color commentary role because Jerry was in a match, he tried to
Yeah,
like take it and like run, but it was just like
girl.
it because there was such a contrast in the energy from this week to last week that it's just like it felt so like why are you so like up in arms about these people all of a sudden.
It was so random. And like at first I was like, is it just Mark Miro? Because that was the first match. And he was like especially rude. I'm trying to like think about some of the things he said, but he was like especially rude to Mark Miro. And I was like, what is
Oh,
their beef?
there
And I
was
was
like
like, is this like a
multiple.
storyline? But then as we kept watching, like he would just like randomly be like to about Bret Hart, about like just random people would just suddenly like rip them to shreds. It like wasn't even like color commentary, it was like bullying.
Right, it was just like what, like it was just very, it came off very aggressive. It's just like what
And
is
out of the
this.
blue, like you said, because he's been so neutral and like so like undercover about like who he's considering and who he's
Right,
not, like who's got his eye on. And then he was like, no, Mark Miro is basically garbage, and I would
right.
never consider him even a little bit. Like, how dare you even insinuate
Right, like that I would stoop
shady?
down to such a level. And it's like, sir, you're wearing
Yeah.
a rhinestoned denim jumpsuit, so I'm gonna need you to take a step back on the judgment of everybody else.
Okay, period. Seriously. Like let's be so real right now, Honky
Right,
Tonk
like,
Man. And also let us not forget, Honky Tonk Man also said this quote about who I don't even remember. It was either Triple H or Jerry the King, and said, he'll keep his cool just like OJ did on the witness stand today.
oh my God, yes. And I remember that, like in one of our earlier episodes, we mentioned that like the OJ Simpson trial was like ongoing,
It's
and it
like
was just
happening
like,
right now, yeah.
and literally on January 13th, 1997, apparently he was like on the witness stand today. Like today was the day. So it's just wild. It's just such a weird thing to think about because like how we think about, or at least like, I don't mean to like speak for you, but like our age group
Mm-hmm.
thinks about OJ Simpson as like such a like far thing in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's we were two or three when this was going on. So like
right.
we have had no concept of who OJ Simpson was. So by the time we got to a point to understand who he was and what he did, like we were older and it had already been years and years.
And
So like to
yeah,
hear
and
it
also our
like
impression,
ongoing is wild.
yeah, and also our impression of it is like we knew
Right.
more when we got to a certain age than they did at the time.
Right.
So
Because at
like
this point, he's just like a really popular football player. Like,
right, and who's like just on, and we don't know, like, but like now we know more things now than we do then. So
mhm,
it's just like so jarring because you're like, well, he doesn't really know like whatever, but
exactly. Yeah,
it's like it's
he doesn't know
very
better, but it still feels wrong.
it's right, especially because like again, even if like we don't know what his like
He's
innocence
still
or
on
guilty
trial
was.
for
So
murder.
much for murder. Thank you.
You
He's
know what I mean? Like he's still
his
like
murder trial.
I
Bring it
understand.
up.
I understand the whole innocent until proven guilty thing, but like maybe not throw roses on his name while he's on trial for murder.
Ugh,
You know what I mean? Like
ugh,
maybe that's not exactly the best look.
thank you. Because I'm like, it doesn't really matter. It's still like not necessarily like a casual topic to discuss. Like I don't know.
Right. To
Like
just like
just
bring up, and you knew that like Vince did not want to go there because he was just immediate. He's like, we do not need to go. We do
he
not need to
literally said
talk
he goes,
about
we don't need
OJ.
to talk about this.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Fair. Protect your brand, Vince. Protect
Swear to
your
God,
brand.
Vince was like, no. Wow.
So
So crazy.
this match was wild. Goldust comes out and makes his entrance. He drops the robe at the top of the ramp, and then makes about halfway, loses the weave, and then
Uh,
like beelines it for Hunter. Just like
yeah,
absolutely is on one. Not playing no games, not mincing no words.
love
He's
it.
here for one reason, and it's that rat with the ponytail. like,
That
so
rat
like he was not playing no games today, and I was living for it.
living. He
I
was so
love this
mad.
like super aggressive side of Goldust. I just
Same.
because it's just it's once again the juxtaposition of like the character that he is, which is this like over the top, flamboyant, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like on rage. Like it's amazing.
Yes, on rage. And that's exactly what I was gonna say, because it's like, especially when the premise, and we've talked about this, but the premise of the beef is his masculinity being in question, and
Right.
he's just so ferocious. And not that like we're gonna get into like what quantifies masculinity or whatever, and like
No.
ferocity doesn't necessarily like not to get into brass tacks, like if we're gonna keep it super
Right.
basic, but like just that level of energy, like coming in with the heat
Mm-hmm.
after he's being questioned and
And
his woman is being threatened.
that was
Love
great.
to
Like
see
he
it.
put hands on his wife. Like
But,
he literally put hands on his
and he
wife.
said, I'm gonna put hands on you. You put hands
Right.
on my wife. I'm gonna put my hands on you. And I loved that energy.
No.
We could
Oh,
all learn
100%.
something from this.
100%. 100%. So the commentary team like throughout the match was kind of just like, how are each of these teams going to work together, because they are not typically like tag teams,
Yeah.
and they have all been in the intercontinental title picture at one point or another, so they've all faced
Oh
each other.
yeah.
So like
Duh.
Goldust has been on the opposing side of Mark Miro. Mark Miro has been on the opposing side of Hunter. Like it's these four all have a history already. So it
Yes.
really was in question as far as like how they were going to work together. And we got a little like glimpse of that when at one point during the match, it is very clear that Hunter wants no part of Goldust. Every time that Goldust is in the ring, Hunter wants no part.
Jerry's getting that tag. If
Jerry's getting that
Goldust gets
tag every
in the
time.
ring, Jerry's getting that tag.
And it
Get in
was
there.
extra apparent when at one point Jerry's getting his ass handed to him and he like finally makes it out to like the corner and Hunter's gone. Hunter
Yeah.
is he scooted his little ass down the steps and literally turned his back to the match and just starts like jaw jacking with like some fans just to be
Not
like
jaw jacking.
like like just I'm
Okay.
just talking some nonsense for the
Yeah, it
sake
was
of
like,
just avoiding the whole situation.
yeah, he like turned around and was like, "So what's going on with you guys? You guys having a good time?"
Right.
Like
Like
not
just
actually, but like he just like turned around and started talking to the fans who were like, "Boo, like what are you doing?"
oh
They were like,
100%. Just no thank you. Um so at one point Hunter gets the tag in, of course, when
mm-hmm.
Mark Miro has been tagged into the match.
And Jerry literally had to beg him for it, like got on
Beg
his
him.
knees and was
Beg
like,
him.
"Please get
Literally, there's
in
one
there."
shot where like they cut to Jerry in the ring and he's like, Hunter!
So
Like he's just like
it was actually a crime. Like it
the,
was
the
a crime.
desperation in his voice really sold it. It
Oh
was
my God.
fantastic.
It was honestly really impressive. Like he sold it. It was very,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is good. This makes sense. Um,
Hunter.
so, however, that doesn't quite work out for Hunter as he finds himself in the match with Goldust, and Goldust is all over him. So
With the
much so to the
quickness.
point that he gets Hunter, he like throws Hunter so hard into the ropes that his arms get caught between the top and middle rope, therefore like leaving Triple H in like a crucifix position essentially,
Mm,
and he goes in and just starts choking the life out of him. Like
girl.
not letting go. The ref, you can see the ref like literally trying to jam his body in between Goldust's body and Triple H's, and he like physically cannot get in there. So
Yep.
of course they call for the bell. It's a disqualification because you can't just choke people.
Yeah.
And that's how the match ends. And then Mark Miro tries to stop Goldust because he's like, okay, this is getting a lot.
Yeah,
And
we need to kill somebody.
he
Like
turns around, Goldust turns around and bops Mark Miro for his trouble. He said, get out of my way. He's like,
he
you
literally
have not.
slaps him twice.
He said, yeah, he's like, you have nothing to do with this. And like, just
Mind
like,
your business. Yeah.
right. So they are going to have a war at the Royal Rumble.
So
I'm
insane.
very excited.
And
I'm
like
very excited.
it was kind of funny because like first like the ref is trying to get in there, which this is hysterical because like no. Vince McMahon was like, I don't think Goldust cares about getting disqualified. He's just after like Triple H. And I was like, I don't think he cares if he goes to jail. Like, I think
No,
he's about to kill this man. Like,
right. Nah, I don't think he could
I
no.
don't think he cares. So, like, first the
No.
ref gets in there, then Jerry, because then the bell rings. So then Jerry gets in there, tries to rip him off.
Mm-hmm.
Goldust turns around, slaps him, goes right back in for the choke. Then Mark Miro, slap. And it's funny because then, like, it's almost like Mark Miro's just like, oh, like he doesn't really like retaliate. Like he like pushes him
No.
maybe, and then he's
But
like,
because I
okay,
feel like he gets it to a point. I mean, it was Mark
same
Miro
energy.
that Marlena got thrown on. So
True,
I
true,
think he
true.
kind of gets it. And I think
Same energy.
right. And he's had that same energy as far in regards to Sable, um,
Right.
which apparently has changed. We will talk about a little bit later on.
Girl, this is gonna
Um,
break my heart, seriously.
so yeah, they are going to be in contention for the Intercontinental Championship, and I think it's going to be great. There's a
I
lot of just like not a lot, but there's a few matches that are not necessarily like the title is the lesser of the important thing. As
yeah.
far or at least in this Intercontinental Championship match, like the title's a little bit of an afterthought. In that
Mm-hmm.
Goldust is really just trying to get revenge, and
I'm at like
Hunter's just trying to run.
kind of hot though that like he just wants revenge and like he might win a title out of that.
Right,
Like just
100%.
fueled by revenge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. So after that match, it cuts to a pre-recorded promo from Psycho Sid, who
Oh
is
yeah.
at the Alamo Dome where the Royal Rumble will be taking place. And it starts off, and he's like, to quote a German philosopher,
Girl.
and then just it basically goes on. It's like a very long-winded version of like live long enough to see yourself become the villain, is essentially the quote.
Honestly, that's
It's
a
the same
perfect
thing.
summary.
Um,
Yes.
but I really want to know who wrote this for this man,
Swear to God.
because there
Say it.
is no way that last week we had to give him a lesson on verb usage, and then this week he's out here quoting philosophers. I I'm not buying it. I'm calling bullshit. There is
Girl.
no way that that is the what. How are we supposed to believe that? Hit or be hitting, kick or be kicking. Sorry, kitten.
It's because it's wrong. Because it's wrong to say. It's
Right.
wrong to say. Your
And
mouth
then
doesn't want to
and then he's
do
like
it.
to quote a German philosopher, and you're like,
Boy, please. The
oh,
lies. Let them stop. I said, I was like, they literally heard his promo last week and were like, ooh, no. No.
no,
Sweetie, we're gonna write this one for the next one for you, okay? Like the Alamo Dome, too big, too important. We're not
right,
doing
right, right.
Derby in.
No,
We're
no, no,
not
no,
doing
no.
it.
No.
And it was good. There was some
Up to a point. So, essentially, yes, I was with it up to a point.
yeah,
So
I
he
was.
goes, I really was. No, it was like a good promo in the sense that like he's like pointing at all these like sections in the Alamo Dome where like Shawn Michaels' family and friends like could be,
He's
and
like,
is
your
essentially
mother's
just
gonna be
being
right
like,
there.
yeah, like your mom's gonna like see what I'm gonna do to you. All your friends are gonna see what I'm gonna do to
It's
you. Like,
hurty.
and he's like, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm with it. I'm with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on to be like, and Jose Lothario. And like at first I was like, okay, cool. Like he's gonna see that like look in your eyes, like that fear, and he's not gonna get on the ring apron because I like he knows better. And I was like, oh, okay,
Okay,
cool.
okay, yeah.
Right.
You're with it.
And
You're
then
with
he
it.
goes, he's gonna summon all the Mexicans from Mexico. And I was just like, is this the dead army like from Lord of the Rings? Like, what do you mean you're gonna summon the Mexicans from Mexico? Like, where are you summoning them to? With what are you summoning them? Like, what?
We were
Summoning
Xavier and I were like, wow, and then we both went, ooh,
right,
wait.
because we were just like, whoa. It was horrible. It was just like,
It's,
you didn't need to say that. You didn't
you
need to
didn't
say
need
that.
it. Like, just
It's just the summoning them,
the
like they're
summoning
like
the verb was really weirdly specific, as if they're like, he's gonna like do a spell and they're all gonna rise out of their beds like,
I
I
have to go
must
to
get
the
to the
Alamo
Alamo.
Dome. Yes, yes,
I must get to
exactly.
Alamo Dome. And it's just like a horde, like the Hocus Pocus when she summons the children, they all just
Yes,
like
and they're all just like, and they
all
like,
the Mexicans.
like I was just like, what? I was like, too much,
Just
Sid,
you'll
too
and then we're
much.
like, oh, you lost us. Okay, well.
Right. And so right after that like beautiful journey that ended in a plane crash ends, we get a response from Shawn Michaels, who's also in San Antonio, but he's chilling at like a bar. He's surrounded by like all his friends and
They're
apparently Jesse
drinking
James,
buds.
which they very I feel like they didn't mention that he was there like as to not draw attention to him because he
Yeah,
wasn't in his like gimmick. Like he wasn't
no.
like,
But he was wearing
I
like a
didn't.
shiny metallic shirt.
Oh, yeah. Very a la like, uh, what is it? The turn of the century, like the year 2000.
Yeah, he was very much like Backstreet Boys, like Millennium.
Right. Oh, yes. That's what I was thinking. I just couldn't quite like.
I was there. I was
I
there.
just couldn't quite get there. Um, yeah. So Jesse James was there, kind of like randomly, and we get this response from Shawn Michaels where he's basically just like, oh, like you want to talk about like being a monster, like I can get just as down and dirty as you want to get, like I don't need um where am I going with this? Um, yeah. Basically, he goes on to be like, "Oh, like you attacked the Lothario family because they were defenseless." He's like, "I'm not defenseless, boy," and like literally calls him boy. Like, and I was like,
Hot.
"Ooh, ooh."
He went crazy with this one.
Oh, 100%. And then at one point, he calls he references Psycho Sid's like master and ruler, whatever. He's like, okay, like Stalin, and it's
Girl,
just like.
it's Stalin. He goes, oh, you're the master of the whole universe. Like, whatever, Stalin. I was like,
Right. And then he goes, I'm going to kick your teeth down your throat so far that you're going to find them the next day in your stool sample.
girl, who says stool sample. Like, that is so crazy.
Right? I was like, are we at the doctor's office?
Who
Like,
even
you
thought
have
of
a
that?
little
Like,
baggie? Like, what is this?
like,
Like,
can you provide us with a stool sample? And they give you that like bag or the cup, whatever. But
ah,
like,
beats me.
I
I've
was
never had
like,
to do
wow.
it. So like,
And then I will. This will live in history. And then he says something about how he's got like the chops, and he goes, I mean, I'm at least a yard wide, if you know what I'm saying. We were like,
I was like, sir.
okay,
I was I was
at
like
least a yard, at least a yard,
he said
maybe
min.
more. Like, what
He
do
said
you
min. A
mean?
yard is 3 feet. Like, let's
We having brats? Like, what is this?
I was like, I pity anybody. Like,
That's not even right. You need to see a
mm-mm.
physician. That's
Right,
right.
100%. Like, somebody's unwell, and it
A
might be me.
yard, at least.
Mm.
Wow. That was a lot to take in. Literally. Sorry,
I'm-
sorry, sorry.
I might have to cut that because your mother will never let me
Oh
live
my
that
God.
down.
Mom, I'm sorry.
Um,
I'll tell her not to listen to this one. Dad, don't do it.
don't do it.
God.
So after this little response, we get Bret Hart coming down to the ring for commentary, and he is very visibly limping.
Limping.
So
Bad.
yeah, as a result of the Brian Pillman treatment from Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
So he hobbles his way down onto commentary for the next match between the British Bulldog and Rocky Maivia. But before this match starts, they cut to a clip from Shotgun Saturday between it's a match between Mark Miro and Rocky Maivia, where at one point it seems that Sable and Mark Miro were having this like really aggressive argument in the ring.
Yeah.
So they're screaming in each other's faces, and then Mark Miro like leaves, like goes to like ditch Sable, in
Mm-hmm.
which case Rocky's like in the ring still and like goes over to her because she's very obviously like upset and is like trying to like console her. And I guess Mark Miro sees it and is like, don't touch my woman, and then comes back into the ring, like grabs basically Sable by like the shoulders, like moves her away from Rocky Maivia,
Aggressive.
and like they get into it, and it's like it gave very like that's my property. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was
It
the energy it was giving.
yeah, like it was like a little like aggressive to the point where it was like a little uncomfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
even when they were fighting, it was getting very physical.
Right.
Like before Rocky like intervened or like not intervened, but like got involved. But
Mm-hmm.
like he was very physical with her, like slapping her arm away and pushing her,
Right.
and she's like screaming and crying, and it's like I feel like I shouldn't be seeing this, and it
Right.
just shouldn't be happening, period. But like I feel like I shouldn't be seeing this. And then the whole thing with Rocky, like when he came back up and just like gripped her away from him, it was
Mm-hmm.
so it yeah, it was like a
It
little, it
just
was
gives
like
you the ick, you know? You're
it
just
was
like,
icky.
yeah, you're just
But
like,
also like I got outraged because it's like also like, how are you going to yell at your girl in front of all these people, make a fool of yourself and embarrass her, then leave,
mm-hmm.
and then be upset when some guy steps in and tries to be nice to her? And then you
Right.
got to come back all huffing and puffing because now you're upset because somebody
Mm-hmm.
else is being kind to her.
Right.
Crazy.
Also,
Also, who's that Mark Miro? I don't even know him. Why is he acting like that?
that's what I'm saying. I was like, you're gonna start like hooting and hollering at the best part of your gimmick.
Oh,
That seems like not a wise career move. I'm
and
just
we'll just
saying.
end it with that because I
Honestly.
that's
So back to this match.
crazy.
Bret Hart is on commentary. He basically just like once again alludes to the fact that there are no laws in the WWF. He's like, that's fine. Fine by me. If this is the way like it's going to be, I could do it just as dirty back. And essentially, for me at least, I was like, but like, let's see it though.
Uh,
Like, he's been saying it for a few weeks now, and he's been getting the better of him. Stone Cold's been getting the better of him. Shawn's been getting the better of him. Psycho Sid's been getting the better of him. So it's like,
Mhm.
if you are committing to this no laws bit and you're gonna get down in the muck, like get down in the muck.
Yep.
I don't see no mud. I don't see it.
Those shoes look awfully clean to
That's
me,
what I'm
sir.
saying. I was like, I think we're gonna need to get off the pedestal, fam. Like,
Yep.
if you're
Because
gonna if you're gonna say it, do it.
if you're gonna say it, you gotta be about it. And like if you don't want to be about it, then don't say it. If you were like, I'm above that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
whatever, I want to wrestle clean, okay, great. Then make that your thing.
Right.
But don't like come in here with your sunglasses on. And listen, I love Bret Hart. This
No,
isn't,
same. This is not that. It's just
this
a
is me shaking my friend and being like, don't be talking all this smack and then not
mhm.
smack. Like,
Right.
we mean,
Right.
like,
Exactly.
you know,
So this match is very, very competitive. It does a really good job of making Rocky Maivia look good. As far
he doesn't even need any
as
help. He's
no,
so
he
just,
honestly doesn't. But going
yeah.
against a competitor with the amount of experience that the British Bulldog has,
Mm-hmm.
and him coming in like a former Intercontinental champion, like is the current tag team champion, is just, he holds a lot of um prestige, I guess, and
Yeah.
to they call it in wrestling like getting the rub, like from
Mm-hmm.
like when you get into the ring with somebody who's like more experienced or like a bigger name or whatever, and you perform well against them. They called it
Mm.
like giving like the Bulldog gave him like the rub, which
Cute.
is yeah. So Rocky Maivia like is dominating the first part of the match, like for the most part. And then halfway through the match, Owen Hart comes to ringside and parks himself just like a little gargoyle, like right in front of Bret Hart, who's
Mm-hmm.
sitting on commentary, just like hello?
Yeah, and
Like,
he brought his slammy and
oh
then he slammied it down on the table.
yes, he did. Yes,
He was
he
just like,
did.
I
Right.
love that little brat. I love him.
I
And he was just like,
and just stood there, just crossed arms, just mean mugging at his brother.
sourpuss.
Oh,
So
one.
good. Which also I want to say, like, Bret Hart was like chilling. We don't know if he was going to interfere or not, but he seemed like he was just, and he was actually like doing pretty decent commentary,
Yeah.
in my
Oh yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
And then Owen just like comes and stands like directly in his face. What did get me is that like he said, like, you couldn't hear what Owen was saying to him because he didn't have a mic, but you heard Bret, obviously. And he said something like, well, he's my brother in law too. And
Oh,
I don't know why that never, like, that I never made that connection. Like, obviously, I know that, but I didn't like fuse it in my brain.
yeah. Oh, well, did
And
you
I know it came up like a couple weeks ago, like, because didn't like the Bulldog like interfere on
the
Bret's behalf like a
yeah,
while ago?
because he was facing or like was into it with like Stone Cold, and the Bulldog has beef with Stone Cold. So like
Right.
he like saved Brett returned the favor. So that's why Brett made that like comment that they're like, "Oh, like we're even as far as
Oh, that's
like
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
that goes." But that exchange between Owen and Brett, um Brett rather, says like, "Oh, like why don't you just like go mind your own business?" And Owen responds with, "Oh, I'm minding my brother-in-law's business." And then he is like,
Mm,
"Oh, well, he's my brother-in-law too." So,
word.
right.
I just like forget sometimes. Like I don't
Right.
know
Yeah, yeah,
why.
yeah.
And then I
And
was like, oh, duh.
yeah.
Crazy.
So the match is progressing. It's going back and forth, and they are both the British Bulldog and Rocky Maivia get knocked out of the ring from like a clothesline, and so they're both out there just kind of like getting their shit together when Stone Cold comes up behind the British Bulldog and chop blocks him once again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we see that Owen is so preoccupied with stopping Brett that he doesn't even realize that Stone Cold has attacked his tag team partner already. So
Mm-hmm.
you see Brett like trying to get up and like hobble like past his brother, and you can see him pointing like behind. He's like, "Look, like turn
Just
around."
look. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, and so like Brett like squeezes by him and like starts like hobbling after Stone Cold, but by that point Stone Cold is all the way at like the top of the
He's
apron.
like, bye, girl.
Right. So both Brett and Owen are left to try and like chase him down essentially,
Mm-hmm.
while both competitors in the match are getting counted out. So we're getting up to like 8, 9. Rocky Maivia gets up and throws himself, like just rolls into the ring
Yeah.
and gets the count out victory.
Right.
In which case, uh, the honky tonk man was like, "What a cheap victory! Like, what? Just
Shut
rolling in the ring."
up.
And Vince just like turns to him and is like, did you want him to stay on the outside and get counted out? Like,
what did you want him to
I was like,
do?
a victory is a victory. It's a W next to his name. Like, who cares?
Swear, I'm
Like,
like, again, what's he supposed to be like? This would be cheap if I did that.
right,
What was cheap was that, 5 minutes earlier, not cheap, but like the British Bulldog threw him head first into the barricade, which is why he
right,
was basically knocked out on the floor
right,
and came to at the count of 9 and had the common sense to just dive into the ring.
right.
So like,
Like, a win's a win,
who's
baby.
a
I don't
cheap?
know.
What's a cheap win at that point? Like, what are we
Right.
talking
A
about?
win's a win, as far as
A
I'm
win's a
concerned.
win, and you would have
Like,
done the same, honky tonk man. Don't even play me like that.
oh yeah. I was like, oh, so you'd rather
Crazy.
him like get the draw instead? Like,
Just
no,
for a clean like
nah,
stop.
nah,
That's why we
dude.
have countouts, because
Right,
sometimes that happens.
right. So you can say that. That was
Whatever.
unnecessary commentary. The honky tonk,
Swear.
yo, the honky tonk man was the villain in this one. I'm sorry.
What?
Like, I
Say
was
it.
like, I was fine with him coming out here and doing his little like, star search, but like, nah, dude. I was like,
Today
you
was terrible.
do not come out here and just start like making no sense.
No sense. Just random nonsense. And also, how are you not interested in Rocky Maivia as like one of your potentials?
Right.
Like,
Especially
that's
considering
dumb.
that he's a third generation superstar with a ton of potential. He's like 6'5". Is like he's his background, he used to be a defensive lineman for like Miami, like the University of Miami, which at the time was like, I think he won like a national championship with Miami. Like,
So
they
what are you
like,
doing?
this man is a brick shit house, and you're gonna be like,
Uh,
nah. You're like, what?
cheap win. Stop.
Cheap win, Rocky. Like, okay, a win's a win,
Cheap jacket, honky tonk man.
right? No, thank you.
Cheap
So,
gimmick. Fine.
literally just an Elvis impersonator. Like, I'm so sorry. Should we drop you off at Vegas? Do you have a wedding to
Uh,
officiate?
it's so funny how quickly we'll just like turn on people because like I was like, I'm so sorry, honky tonk man. You have all my respect, la la la. And then today I was like, oh no, no, no.
No, 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 no. Listen,
It's over.
we match energies. That's all I'm
Swear to
saying.
God. Listen, listen.
That's all I'm
You want to
saying.
scratch or I'll bite. Like, let's
Shh,
what
shh.
do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
You came out, yeah, 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 yeah. Like what? For what? On the basis of what?
What?
So
Unreal.
after that match, we get a kind of like backstage interview with the Nation of Domination. They are asked about the Royal Rumble and like how they are going to navigate the fact that it's an every man for themselves match,
Mm.
in which Farouk is basically just like, he's like, absolutely not. If you are going to be a nation, you are going to be unified. And you're like, that doesn't
That's like
seem like
not
the rules of the match.
that doesn't
So
that's just
and it
okay.
does happen in the Royal Rumble where like people team up and like
Yeah.
for the sake of, getting other people out, and then they like face each other. It's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But to be like, oh, we're like a unified front, at some point you're gonna have to not be.
I just know at some point Farouk is like tossing Crush out of the ring. Like I
Yep.
just know it. Like there's
Because
no
Farouk is
way.
very like, uh I'm not gonna get my shoes dirty. You get on the floor and I'll step over you. Like,
Period.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's like, these are all my little pawns to get to where I need to go. Like, he doesn't
Yeah.
actually care.
And then he'll say
So,
something like, "Well, a win for me is a win for us." Like
right,
we're
right.
like he's
Like,
very that.
very like he'll gaslight you into believing that like this is for the greater good. Like, yeah. So
100%.
Crush will be taking on The Undertaker. So right after this interview, we get the Undertaker gong, the general confusion from the people on the commentary desk, wondering where the lights went. And so he makes his entrance, and then the Nation starts, bringing out their like ensemble, all like 6 of their hype men or whatever. And like, so they're coming out, and Undertaker's like, okay, like, you're taking too long, and jumps out of the ring to meet them on the apron. He socks Farouk right in the face, and
Right.
then grabs Crush and drags him to the ring. He's like,
Amazing.
this is ridiculous.
He's
This
like,
is fucking
"Let's go."
way
Oh my
too
God.
long. So this match is interesting in the fact that Crush is like basically as large as the Undertaker. So
Yeah.
it is like one of the first times that we're seeing one of the first time like me and you what on this
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
are
yeah.
seeing the Undertaker face somebody that's like his size or bigger, which doesn't happen often.
Right.
So like it's a very different kind of match for the Undertaker where like he really there's a lot more back and forth as far as the physicality goes.
Yes.
It's not a smaller wrestler working up to a bigger wrestler. It's like it makes sense that these two are going back and forth because of their like, you know, how evenly matched they are as far as like strength or
Mm-hmm.
size.
Mm-hmm.
Um so the match is great. I think it's going phenomenally.
So
There's
good.
one point where Undertaker is going to go do old school, and that's where he climbs the ropes, and then Farouk comes up on the apron, just starts shaking them all, and the Undertaker's legs do the little split, and the ropes meet him where no ropes should meet anybody.
Period.
So,
Oof.
yeah, that was a rough landing for the Undertaker.
Yeah.
So the match is like progressing, and then it cuts to the top of the ramp, and there is Vader just playing his own little peekaboo game. He said,
He was just like, but he was just
yeah, just like dead stare, like no blink, like no blinking, just it was so weird. And then it was so fast because they like cut to him and then like went to a commercial. So we were just like,
yeah.
okay.
And then
Um,
apparently he just like leaves after that. So just a
right.
little boop.
Right. She just wanted to get a little sneaky peek before the Royal Rumble. I get it. Check out your competition. Although it is live television, so you could have just watched it on TV.
Also,
Um,
there's nothing sneaky about Vader. He's
no,
400 pounds.
they're 400 pounds and wears a giant red
Red.
costume like a bullseye. Like there's nothing sneaky about Vader.
Not a
Nor
thing.
does there really need to be. So I don't know why he was like,
Oh.
"Eh." You know what I mean? Like just come out there. Who's gonna stop you from the back? You know what I
He
mean?
was like,
Like,
yeah, he was like that meme of Kim Kardashian leaning out of the bushes. Just like,
oh my god. You're like, get a grip.
you're like, okay.
So the match is progressing, and we think like we might actually get a match from the Undertaker where it doesn't end in
You would think.
chaos. You would think. No. All of the Nation of Domination jumps into the ring and jumps this man. All
Yeah,
of them. So
everyone.
they're absolutely tearing, like Crush is like holding the Undertaker's legs so that he can't like move, and like they're all just like pounding on the Undertaker. And then Ahmed Johnson, in a stark contrast to last week's outfit, comes out in some loose sweatpants once again, though, with the 2x4. So he comes
Yep.
out, and like the only problem is there's still like 8 of them.
Oh, because
So
Vader also jumped in.
yes, my apologies. Yeah, so Vader like makes a reappearance, jumps in, joins like the fray, and we think, oh well, the Undertaker's toast. He has no friends. So like the
Yep.
Ahmed Johnson, Ahmed Johnson comes because you know he's got his comeuppance coming. Like he's
hmm
ready for
Him
that
and that 2 by
revenge
4 versus everyone.
versus the world.
Everyone.
So he comes in, but he's just overwhelmed by the amount of people there are. So the episode ends with just Farouk just beating the hell out of Ahmed Johnson with the 2x4. And we're just like, oh, okay. And then after that, Vader performs 2 Vader bombs on the Undertaker. And we're just like, okay.
Yeah, like Ahmed Johnson is getting his ass beat with a 2 by 4 and Undertaker is getting Vader bombed into the floor.
Right.
So like it just, and then it's just like that's it. And then the show just ended. I was so taken off guard. I was like, that was it?
Right.
And I don't know why it takes me off guard every time the episode ends. Like because it's always like mayhem and then the episode just ends.
Right.
And every single week I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like
right. Because I mean, it works. It's a cliffhanger. It's
it
like, okay,
yeah. I
what's
mean, like
now?
literally that 2 by 4 is getting broken across Ahmed Johnson's back, and they're like, bye.
Bye.
What?
Right.
Crazy. I thank God we can watch this, like we stream this, because if I had to wait
A week
a
every.
week, I would die. Like,
Oh
I mean,
baby,
I guess we kind
we
of technically do because we record, but like every week. So I like
yeah.
guess we
I mean,
do.
we kind of do. So
So okay, I'm gonna give myself some credit. I'm okay.
yeah. I mean, it is also helpful that we gave ourselves a 30-year head start. So like we have
True.
no you know, it's not like we're gonna like catch up anytime soon. So
This is true. And we
um
do watch without commercials, which is pretty
that
sus.
is very helpful.
A blessing.
So So this was the last stop on the road to the Royal Rumble, and pretty much all of the feuds have been progressed at this point. Undertaker and Vader, Ahmed Johnson and Farouk, Psycho Sid, Michaels, uh, Stone Cold and everybody. So I'm very excited. There's a lot of like grudge matches that I'm super stoked for, but I did want to circle back and ask, has your prediction changed with this episode?
Okay. It almost did because of Bret Hart's injury.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me, like, but though, okay. Part of me, like, I wish The Undertaker would win, only because, like, they kind of hinted at him fighting Psycho Sid, like, at one point. And I was like, well, then if Psycho Sid beats Shawn Michaels and retains the title, and Undertaker wins the Royal Rumble, then, like, they would fight. And
Right.
obviously, I want Undertaker to be the champion. Like,
Right,
that would be
right, right.
crazy. But I don't know. For some reason, I want to maintain Bret Hart as my guess because I just like, even the injury, it's almost like I just feel like they're trying to lead me astray. Like they're trying to be like, I don't know. And everyone wants to fight him. Everyone wants to get in his face. Like, if he did win, I just feel like that would be crazy.
Right.
Because like everyone is really gunning for him and he has an injury. He has like this really long beef with Stone Cold that just like keeps coming to a head over and over again. Though it would be pretty crazy if Stone Cold also won, but I just feel like but again, they just go crazy and sometimes do whatever they want, but I feel like they haven't been showing Stone Cold wrestling enough for that to make sense for him to win. Again, I could be wrong. I do not know, but I'm going to at this time lock in my guess as Bret Hart.
All right, locked in. Kelsey's guess for the 1997 Royal Rumble is Bret the Hitman Hart. So, for you guys watching this episode, this is going to be coming out after the holidays. So we're recording this before the holidays just because we want to get ahead of it so that we can enjoy some time with our families.
Yeah.
But on that note, we want to wish you guys a very happy and safe holiday time, season, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy the time with your loved ones. Nothing is guaranteed, so take it while you have it.
True.
Cherish it, and we want to thank you as always for joining us on this episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. Another note, we will link the voting link for the Sports Podcast Awards in the description of this video. And voting goes until, I believe, January 28th. So we're going to be hearing about this for a minute.
Yeah, so
again,
be prepared for that.
Yeah, seriously. Once again, happy holidays. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.